late into the night, getting toward the morning, and right now we're watching what's happening in Indiana. A very, very dramatic race. I'm Wolf Blitzer at the CNN Election Center. Right now, North Carolina, it's over with. Barack Obama has clearly won very decisively, very impressively in North Carolina. 100% of the precincts have now reported. He has 56%, Hillary Clinton's 42%. An impressive win in North Carolina. But in Indiana right now, 95% of the precincts have reported. She is clinging to a slight lead, 51% to 49%. If we zoom in on the actual numbers as they stand right now, we can show you how tight this race is. 606,497 for Hillary Clinton, 589,888 for Barack Obama. That is not a huge lead for Hillary Clinton. 5% of the precincts still remain outstanding. And in Lake County, in the northwestern part of Indiana, that's where the drama is. Only about 50% or so of the precincts in Lake County have reported, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Theoretically, this could still go either way, even though she still has that slight lead. It may be a situation where we won't know for some time who is the winner in Indiana, although, as I say, she maintains a very slight lead. I want to walk over to CNN's John King, who's watching this contest for us. And what a dramatic story it's been in Indiana now for the past several hours. And as we look at Lake County, he has a lead there, but there's still a lot of votes that have to be counted.
It is a remarkable drama, Wolf. If you flash back to just after the polls closed at 6 o'clock in most of the states, 7 o'clock Eastern for some of these counties in the central time zone, early results had Senator Clinton up about 10 percentage points, and we said at the time we needed to be cautious to watch the votes come in the urban areas. They did come in Marion County. We're up to about 98% there. A strength for Barack Obama. He is the dark blue on the map. You see him winning 67% to 33% there. As he started to post big numbers in Indianapolis, in the smaller college towns of South Bend and Bloomington, the question became, what would happen up here in the second largest county in the state, a county with close proximity to Barack Obama's home base right here in Chicago? The question became, could he do well enough here in Lake County, which is anchored in the city of Gary, Indiana, large African-American community there? Could he do well enough to overcome the lead? Well, we are now up to 56% of the vote. It took hours to get any votes at all out of Lake County. We got 28%, and they doubled that, reported up to 56%. And you see the margin as we wait for the determinative 44% left that could swing the state of Indiana, depending on the percentages. Barack Obama 65% to 35% in a part of the state we knew he needed to win. The question now is, when the rest of that vote comes in, Wolf, will he continue to hold that margin, 65% up in the county? If he does, there's enough votes up there to erase a little shy of 17,000 votes. Senator Clinton now leads statewide.
You know, I was trying to understand the mayor of Gary, Indiana, when he said the reason these votes took so long to be counted, to be reported to the state, was because they had, 11,000 or so absentee ballots. But maybe I was missing something, but I still don't understand. John, maybe we could go back to the mayor right now and why they couldn't tell us what the votes were, the actual votes that were cast today as opposed to the absentee ballots. Mayor, if you're still there, maybe you can try one more time to explain to me and to a lot of our viewers who simply don't understand why it took 4 or 5 hours to at least bring some of these votes up to speed in Lake County.
Well, I think I've explained it 4 or 5 times here, and I don't know how I could say it any differently.
I know it took a long time, Mayor. Excuse me for interrupting. I know it took a long time, and it's taking a long time to count those 11,000 absentee ballots, and you've never had as many absentee ballots in Lake County. But what about the other ballots that were the ballots that were cast on this day?
You know, we've gone over this 3 or 4 times, and I could repeat it again, but the fact of the matter is that we are counting the votes here. They will be counted properly, and the numbers will be given to the community.
But do you understand, Mayor, why it's taking so long?
As I said before, because of the number of early voters, 11,000 on Monday, and we went to the polls on Tuesday.
I know that, but what about the ballots that were cast today? Why couldn't those have been released in Lake County the way they were released in all the other counties in Indiana?
Well, I can't speak for the other counties, but as I said before, we're releasing the numbers as they come in here.
All right, maybe Mayor McDermott of Hammond, nearby to Gary. Do you understand what's going on in your county, Mayor?
No, I'm frustrated. I'll be honest with you. The appearance of impropriety is high in this case, and it's unfortunate. But I can tell you that the machine votes, we knew at 7:30 what the machine votes were in Hammond. I knew what the machine votes were in East Chicago, in Whiting, in Maryville, in Cherryville, in Crown Point, and Hobart. We knew what the machine votes were at 7:30. It's midnight, and we don't have any information, and that's frustrating. It's frustrating for me, and it makes it look as though something corrupt may be happening, and that's unfortunate because Lake County is a nice place, and it doesn't need this kind of negative PR.
Is there a recent history in Lake County of hanky-panky, Mayor McDermott?
You know what? I mean, in politics, I'm not going to pick on where I'm from. I'm proud to be from Lake County, and there is hanky-panky in politics all across the state of Indiana, all across the United States, so I'm not going to dig into Lake County's past, but I can tell you that it looks improper, what's happening. I'm not saying anything improper is happening, but it looks improper, and that's the problem I have, is we don't need this kind of negative exposure in Lake County, Indiana, and I know that there are good people working in the county election board. I know Mayor Clay very well. He's an outspoken Obama supporter. I'm an outspoken Clinton supporter, and I release the numbers, Mayor Clay, because this is ridiculous. It's midnight.
Unfortunately, we've lost Mayor Clay. The mayor... Maybe he's still there. Mayor Clay, are you still there with us?
I'm still here.
Oh, good. But you want to respond to what Mayor McDermott of Hammond said?
Well, first of all, we have some of the best people working in Lake County, Indiana, in our elections department that you have anywhere in the world. Not only that, we have Democrats and Republicans counting these ballots here. There is no hanky-panky going on here in Lake County, Indiana.
What about the machine vote, Mayor? The machine vote. The early voting is done on machines, isn't it?
The early votings are done on the machine. We had 11,000 people. The early voting stopped yesterday at noon. 11,000 people, and we started our regular voting today. You cannot count 11,000 ballots in a few minutes here. So we're doing it methodically. We're not going to disenfranchise anybody in Lake County, Indiana, and we will have the votes. And when the votes are counted, everybody in the world will know.
I was election commissioner today, and we would walk into precincts, and I say, how many votes do you guys have here? And they would push a button. They say, 180, Mayor. And I'd say, thanks. It was a button. They pushed a button, and they told me how many votes. They didn't tell me who had how many votes. But what I'm saying is this is a computer. I mean, how easy is it to turn over a computer so that the media and everybody knows what's going on? That's the frustrating part of this, Mayor Clay.
Mayor, you want to respond to that, Mayor Clay?
Well, first of all, yes, we were getting the number of people who voted, but you can't and will not know the people who they voted for until you count up all the votes. That's what we're doing here.
But it's a computer.
That's what we're doing, counting them up.
And so let me just try to move this forward, Mayor Clay. When do you think we will get the rest of the vote in Lake County?
Very, very soon. They're counting them as we speak. They're counting them as we speak, Republicans and Democrats.
All right, well, we're getting
hard-working Lake County people.
Even as we speak, Mayor Clay, I think we're getting some more votes. John, what are we seeing?
Wolf suddenly jumped from 56% of the vote up to 98% of the vote. The numbers did not change dramatically, which leads you to believe, and we'll try to get the exact information, that what came in late was from the more rural areas down here where you have fewer people. But this has now jumped dramatically. We have jumped from 58% to 98% in Lake County, and you see Barack Obama winning 55-45. He
Which
was
is not
winning
as dramatic as it was.
He was winning 65-35. So the votes that came in were more for Senator Clinton. Now let's pull out to see what the impact of that is statewide. We are now up to 99% reporting. Senator Clinton's lead has come down 22,000 votes by my rough math. Her lead has come down.
So it
but
looks like she's going to be able to squeak through, at least based on 99% of the votes. That looks like it's going to be difficult for that gap to be overcome by him.
That would be a tough gap to overcome. Now, remember, some of the votes outstanding are down here in Marion County where Obama is winning, so it is not out of the realm of possibility, but with 98% in, it would take a big jump there. And I want to switch over here to look at Monroe County, 98% there. The places that are still out are places where Barack Obama is doing well, with the one exception of Union County right here, a very small rural county along the Ohio border, but surrounded by other rural counties. And let's just show you by way of example, like this is a slightly bigger county, Wayne County. Senator Clinton won almost 60-40 there. We come over here, she won 68-32. She won here, 69-31. So every expectation would be, Wolf, that she would carry Union County
Even though
based
it's a
on what
tiny
has
little
happened in the
county.
area. A relatively small amount of votes is what you're likely to get there. But as we come back now, that has come down 22,000 votes now at 99% reporting. So not impossible. We have to go through every one of these now and look to see where there are votes out. But that big dramatic change up here, where you went from 58% to 98% without moving the numbers here dramatically, and in fact, Senator Clinton shrinking Obama's percentage in that county, that was a dramatic big input of votes.
And I want to go back to Mayor Clay, the mayor of Gary, Indiana. You just saw that that vote jump. What, we got 98% of the vote now in Lake County. You were saying that we would be getting more of those numbers, more of that the vote coming in, and they have come in.
Right.
The gap in favor, Mayor Clay, in favor of Barack Obama did not hold as it had earlier, when about 50% of the vote is in, and it looks right now that she is positioned to squeak by in Indiana. Although all the votes have not yet been counted, there's still 1 or 2% of those precincts remaining. I wonder if you want to react to what we just saw.
Well, right here in Lake County, all we can do is count our votes and turn them over to the community, and what will be. And as you said before, she squeaks by, and we'll have to see when all the numbers come in.
Mayor McDermott of nearby Hammond, what do you think?
I think it's a great, tough victory for Senator Hillary Clinton. She came into Northwest Indiana, which is Senator Barack Obama's, literally, his house is less than 15 minutes from where I live and where I'm the mayor of. And Hillary Clinton came into Barack Obama's backyard and beat him in a state that she was probably supposed to lose, in a state that hasn't voted for a Democrat for president in 40 years. She did a great job. She campaigned hard, and I'm proud of her.
All right, I want to thank both of these mayors from Lake County, Indiana, and I want both of you to stand by for a second. All right, with almost all of the vote now actually counted in the state of Indiana, we can now project that Hillary Clinton will win the state of Indiana. It's taken us hours and hours to do this, but Hillary Clinton, we now project, will be the winner in Indiana. Virtually 100% of the ballots have now been counted. You can take a look right now, and it holds firm, 51% for Hillary Clinton, 49% for Barack Obama. If we want to take a look at the actual numbers that have come in right now, you can see how close it is. 637,389 for Hillary Clinton, 615,370 for Barack Obama. It's a narrow win. It's a squeaker for Hillary Clinton, but it is a win. She wanted to win in Indiana. She needed desperately to win in Indiana, especially given the very decisive loss she suffered in North Carolina earlier. Hillary Clinton, the winner in Indiana. In other words, there's a split decision tonight. Hillary Clinton wins in Indiana narrowly. Barack Obama wins much more impressively, decisively in North Carolina. But a win is a win, John King, as they say. And let's explain to our viewers now. I'll walk over to you how she managed to do it. We had been watching Lake County so closely. Lake County finally came in. The votes are tallied there. Barack Obama won, but not by enough to overcome the losses he had suffered in so many other counties in the state.
The dynamic, Wolf, in some ways very familiar to what happened just next door in the state of Ohio. Remember there, Barack Obama won in some of the big population centers, but Senator Clinton racked up impressive and huge margins in the more rural communities. That is what you see here. The light blue is Senator Clinton. She won a sweep across most of the state of Indiana, running up some pretty big numbers. If you come down here to Evansville and look down there, 52-48, start moving around, the more rural you get, the higher the Clinton number tends to go in these counties. Not a lot of population in these places, but running up big margins out in rural Indiana. What did that do? It allowed her to offset the results that came in later in the college town of Bloomington. Barack Obama wins, not a huge population center. The big concentration of the population right here in Marion County, Indianapolis. Barack Obama winning huge there, 67% to 33%. The drama we waited on all night, the county closest to his political base in Chicago, right up here, Lake County, took hours to get any results. Then they came in, first one big chunk, then another big chunk, seemed to show that it was possible Barack Obama could make up the difference. But then when the last big chunk came in, Wolf, Hillary Clinton narrowed the gap. Barack Obama winning 55% to 45% in Lake County, closest home base